With a 20-year reputation for clean business, Matt Glynn at Code Property Group is the first choice for real estate on the Sunshine Coast and surrounding areas. I've known Matt for a very long time from a personal level and professional level, and he is an excellent real estate agent. He's professional, he holds a high level of integrity, he presents incredibly well, and has a huge amount of knowledge when it comes to the real estate industry. So if you are in the market to buy, sell, or simply get a valuation and find out more about your current property, then give Matt a call on 0404 315 066 or matt.glynn, GLYNN, at codepg.com. You won't be disappointed. All right, welcome back to another edition of the Paul's Body Engineering Podcast. I have a return guest making her second appearance today is my long-standing client, Mina. And I'm not even going to attempt to say her surname, even though I should.
Please don't.
Because I know I'll stuff it
Let's
up.
keep the friendship.
How you going? Good?
Yeah, really good. Really good. Thanks for having me back.
No problem. No, I thought it was, we were just speaking. It's a good opportunity to catch up again on the platform to allow a bit more of a story to be told. Because obviously, since the last last podcast that you did, as you said, you're about 3 or 4 weeks into your prep.
Yeah.
A little bit unsure of what was to come forth after that. And here we are several months after the completion of your season. So we'll dive into that, but yeah, it's a good opportunity to just recap on what was a pretty surreal experience, I suppose, from your perspective, but also a very successful one, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just loved it.
Yeah, awesome. Well, take us back to the prep itself. Now, disclaimer: prep isn't for everyone, but and yeah, you made that very clear when you first signed up with me that you were never going to do a bodybuilding show.
Yeah.
But here we are now.
I can't wait to prep again now.
Yeah, I know how the tides have turned. Isn't that amazing? Hey, just the mindset.
It becomes addictive.
Yeah, very much so. So take us back through the prep itself. Obviously, it's a fairly significant period of dieting. Very strict, very regimented, very repetitive. Talk about the highs and lows of just that period and how you found it. And, I guess from an outsider looking in who may not have done that, try and, make it a little bit more colorful if you can.
Yeah. Look, I loved prep. I think the version of me that comes out in prep, I just love that so much. Probably because I'm such a routine person, and prep is very routine, and you've got to tick boxes daily, and that I find that really satisfying. And what I'm like with consistency with just doing things that I'm told. But it's also the strictness of prep. It kind of controlled me. So I kind of had to just give in and do what you told me to do. And it was so nice not to have to think about am I doing things right or wrong. I just had to do what I was told. And I love that. It was good. And it was just something goals every day. And it was like satisfaction of going, yep, I did my steps. Yep, I hit my macros to 0. Just that for me, oh my God, that became obsessive.
But not in a bad way, right?
I still sometimes do it. It's just like a little challenge accepted, hit your macros to 0. I still do it sometimes. But, I loved prep. I don't really think I had lows. There was a lot of highs because I didn't think I will do as well as I did. I thought I'd struggle. I didn't find there was struggles. I'm not going to lie. Obviously, it's a lot. It's a whole year of just doing prep pretty much, because I think all up, what did we do? About 34 weeks?
34 weeks, yeah, sounds about right. Yeah, you would have started February sometime.
Yeah. It was a long time of saying no to events and socializing and choosing where I go, what I do. And then the time that's consumed daily to do the things that you have to do, and working full time and, being a mom, all of that, just life. And then you add in the prep sort of pressures. So there was some struggles, but nothing that made me go, why am I doing this? I loved it.
Yep.
Every week checking in, and seeing results was so nice. And the way that my body responded, I didn't think it would. I thought it would, because my entire life that I remember, my life journey's been about losing weight, and it's always been a struggle, as you know. And then suddenly prep started and it just kept coming off. Like, I was actually shocked some weeks with, like, I was eating the same food, doing the same things, and how much weight was just dropping off by just being consistent, 100% consistent daily. So, prep, I can't wait to prep again.
You mentioned obviously some struggles in terms of probably time more than anything else, right? So,
Yeah.
speaking on behalf of other single mums out there who still have to juggle everyday life, and then you've thrown this in on top, so you've had to get up earlier to train, to go for
Yeah.
walks, to
Yeah.
prioritize that. How did you find that? Did you find, because I think there was at some stages, were you waking up at 3 a.m.?
Yeah.
Was
Yeah,
at one point?
most of prep I had to get up at 3 because it kind of rolled into winter,
Yep.
and the days were shorter.
Yep.
My job is 9 till 5. I go to the gym before work. Like, usually I go about 5 o'clock in the morning, but then also in my job, I don't get much movement. Even though I'm standing all day, I don't have steps. So, like, on a good day, I'll get 2,000 steps in 8 hours.
Yeah.
That's how stationary my job is.
Mm.
So to get the step count of, like, I think ours towards the end was 15 and a half, which was about 10 kilometers a day I had to walk.
Yep.
I would get up at 3, go to the gym, do treadmill, and make sure I hit like 10,000 steps, and then do my training, and then go home, and then I'd leave a few for after work to just like do a quick like 15-20 minute walk and get that done, just to unwind. But yeah, I just did what I had to do. Like, I was like, this is a choice I've made. No one's forced me to do this.
Absolutely.
It's a privilege to be able to do it mentally, financially, just to be at a stage of life to actually do that. Competing is a lot. And I was like, it's a choice. I'm not going to moan about it. I'm just going to do it. So yes, I was getting up at 3. I still get up at 4 automatically now, my body clock. Like, I still go to the gym all my holidays, Christmas, New Year's. I'm there at 4:30 in the morning.
So you just embrace that lifestyle, right? Like the whole
and like,
if I'm
awake, like, I can't actually train in the afternoons now. I don't like it. I have zero energy in the afternoon for training. Mentally, just can't do it. In the morning, bundle of joy.
Yeah, perfect. Amazing. There you go. So you didn't find, like, getting up at 3, and obviously I'm assuming you probably put yourself to bed at, I don't know, 7:30, 8 o'clock or something like that. You didn't find that long day, like the fatigue build up over time, or it was just manageable?
I did, but then I kept reminding myself it's a choice I've made.
Sure.
So like, I was like, it is what it is. I made the decision to do it. I was too far in to go, no, I'm not doing it. I was enjoying it. I wish I was going to bed 7:30, 8 o'clock. I still had to drive my son around last year.
Of course.
He didn't have his license. So his football trainings would sometimes finish at 9:30 at night. Like, I would drive to training and sleep in the car in my hoodie and jumper and 4 other layers, because I was always so cold. And I would just because he had his learners, he would just jump in the driver's seat and drive us back home.
Yeah, well.
So yeah, it just did what I had to. I used to sleep on the way to gym in the morning. And he would drive. So the days that he was training with me and coming to the gym with me, I'll get up and I bought a walking machine. I'll do steps at home for an hour or so. And then he will drive me to the gym, and I'll just nap and then do my training and then nap on the way back. I was tired all the time. Like,
of course.
If I was stationary and sitting, I was napping.
Well, you got to take advantage, right? Awesome. Well, we briefly touched on the fact that your season was obviously successful, and probably, I think it exceeded expectation, fair to say, right?
Yeah.
Talk us through that, because there's obviously there's pretty good video footage, and it's on, I dare say it's on your Instagram. It's definitely on mine, of you winning that first show that you did, and the look on your face of utter
I almost cried on stage. I had to pull myself
just shock and they're the moments. I love those moments. Like, Sandra was obviously very similar as well. So talk me through that.
Obviously, going through prep, I didn't just do it to lose weight, and I didn't do it to go on stage. Like, that was not my goal. In fact, that was the hardest part for me to, like, mentally accept that I'm okay to go on stage. Just body image issues. And, it's been years and years of thinking, you don't look apart. But to go up there for my first division, and when they called my name for first place, I I look back on the videos and I can't remember any of that. I just know that I went to cry and then I had to pull myself back together and smile and like,
Don't wreck
acknowledge
my
and go on
makeup.
stage. I know my face just goes, woo. I go to like a cry face and then a smile. I can't remember that whole lineup.
Yeah.
I remember you walked me through backstage and you said to me, you'll be fine. And I was like, yeah, okay. And all I was thinking was don't fall over. Walked up and I remember saying to myself, because everything was fuzzy and blurry, like that first time on stage, everything was fuzzy and blurry. And I said, okay, just listen for Jason's voice and turn the right way.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, make sure you're turning the right way. That's all I focused on. I don't remember anything else. I look at the photos. Obviously, I know who was on stage with me. I don't remember anyone that was on stage with me at the time of going up. I was so like tunnel vision on not falling over, not face planting and turning the right way that, yeah. And then when they called my name for first place, oh my God, going into prep, I just wanted one podium placing and out of 3 comps and I did 8 divisions all up and I ended up getting 7 podiums. So it was just, exceeded expectations a lot.
Absolutely. Well, how important, like speaking of that first division where you said everything was sort of blurry and fuzzy, because obviously it does go by very fast and it's very overwhelming, the heightened sense of emotion, etc. How important was it then to fall back on all the practice you've done, particularly in your posing that you obviously did with Georgia, leading up to that? Like, was it just automated? You didn't have to think because the practice had been done?
Yeah, look, I was still worried about it. And Georgia was sitting there in the crowd. And the only person I was looking at was Georgia because we had all these little signals that she would throw at me. And and I knew, like, we talked about it. She's like, you don't, like, I won't be shouting out, but look for my hand gestures. And I knew exactly what she was telling, lift your bum up, like, put your shoulders back. It was just so funny. That's the only person I was looking for every time I went on stage. I was looking to see where she's sitting, if she was there. After that first division and obviously placing first, I was like, this is it. You achieved your goal. Like, have fun with it now.
You can retire now.
I just wanted one podium and I came first. And I was like, okay, you can do this. And then it just kept getting better. And, it was just amazing. Show days are just the best part.
Yeah.
Like, you do all the hard work. You go through all the tired parts. And it was just so much fun. And then just to go into opens, like the next round, it was like, oh, this is good. This is another practice run. Here's an extra.
Overall, absolutely.
Overall, sorry. That was it was just so good.
I say it to everyone who does this, you got to the overall in your first ever show. It took me 5 years to make
said that
overall.
to me.
I know.
And the other best part was when I came off stage, you shoved the white Tim Tam in my mouth because I was shaking so much. I never forget that moment. It was like the best thing that happened. I was like, stuff the gold medal. I needed that sugar so bad because I thought I was going to pass out from excitement and just everything that happened so fast. I never forget that Tim Tam. It was so good.
Oh, how good. So what were some other highlights through the season that you remember, because obviously, you have the massive up on show day and in this instance you won. So the high was very high. Coming back out of the day and then into another peak week or 2 weeks later into a peak week, how did you find that sort of turbulent period in terms of emotions and managing that?
It was hard. Once the comp started, I found it harder than the actual prep.
Yeah, okay.
Because as you know, once you start eating stuff that you haven't eaten, your body just wants it.
Yep.
And that was hard. Even you made us train that night. I was like, what kind of evil person does that? I hadn't eaten all day and I had the heaviest leg session to do that night after Sunny Coast. I remember Sandra and I were like full tan, hair and makeup in the gym. And I'm like, why are we doing this? And all I wanted to do was eat. Like, I was hungry. But I did it, got pushed through it. There was a lot of highs and lows. And then obviously we went from a regional show to a state show to a national show. So it kept getting more harder sort of competition. And I am competitive, even though it was my first season. I was like, I'm not just doing this for, sake of doing it. I want to do it as a sport.
You're not just a number.
So it kept getting harder and harder. I found it a hard struggle because I had 2 weeks between Brisbane show, ICN and NBA.
Yep.
That was hard. Those 2 weeks were hard, trying to focus and go, keep going.
Yep.
but got there.
You did.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that it was more once I started eating the things that I wouldn't have been eating.
Yep.
Because we had like I can't remember if you gave us, no, you didn't give us a free night, but it was more like on comp day, obviously your carbs are higher, you have the sugars and stuff. And I just
Yep.
wanted to eat that whole bag of lollies. And I think I was allowed 1.5 snakes every 2 hours. I was like, I just want five.
I get it.
For someone who doesn't even like lollies or eat them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
Peanut
this?
butter. I never used to eat peanut butter. Now I'm obsessed with
Uh,
bloody Mapes dark peanut butter.
has that just that's a
That's your fault.
yeah, well, I'll take responsibility. That's fine. That's a good side note. Have you introduced other foods that you haven't generally eaten in the past because of this experience, besides peanut butter?
Um, But the only thing that I like now is peanut butter. I don't know,
Yeah,
because I think comp day, you made us have that for breakfast and it was the best thing ever, even though it
yeah,
was such a weird combination of food
yeah.
that I had to eat steak, peanut butter, and banana. No, I pretty much eat the same.
Okay.
Nothing's changed. I
Yep.
never took any meal food groups out of my diet apart from sugar and fats, obviously, because I had to.
Yep.
I don't really eat much like sugary food anyway.
Sure.
Like I get it from fruit and stuff, but like I will have chocolate every now and then, but I don't crave it.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, no, I didn't actually take any fruit out of my diet during prep, and I think that's why I didn't struggle because
Absolutely.
yeah, I wasn't deprived of anything.
Mm.
Um, I just reduced my amounts.
Yeah,
Like
cool.
ate the same thing the whole time. It just got smaller.
Yep.
And now it's got bigger, a lot bigger.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, well, and we'll touch on that in a second. I want to go back a sec to something you mentioned earlier. Oh, actually, no, I don't know if you did mention it or not, but it jogged my memory. There were periods within sort of the last third of prep where your weight was spiking every third or fourth week. Um,
Yeah.
Talk us through that because obviously that's a big mental block for a lot of people when they see the scale weight go up. However,
Yeah.
you were doing everything right. As you said, you were ticking boxes. You were turning up at the gym at, getting up at 3 a.m., all these sorts of
Yeah.
things. Was that a big, I guess, mental thing to overcome and obviously
Yeah.
trust me and trust the process?
Yeah, because I think you actually, I was losing too much and I was getting too lean for the division I was doing. So you started reversing me out
Yeah.
early on. Like I think, I don't know, 5, 6 weeks before
Mm,
the comp started, you kind of like up my food a bit. Yeah, look, because I've never done this before, first time, thinking I have to be lean as possible.
sure.
And as you go through the process, you look at yourself and obviously body image, you kind of like, I'm not lean enough, I'm not lean enough. But I knew that I just had to let you do whatever, even though it was mentally hard when the scales would go up for
Mm.
whatever reason. I'll have a little breakdown and then you'll go, you look fine. This is what you need to look like. And I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna be fine.
Yeah.
It was nice to have that relationship where I could just tell you
Mm.
that, I'm struggling with this, like I'm not okay. And you'll just like calm me back down. And then the next week again, I don't know why, even now, my body, I do the same things, eat the same food 5, 6 days a week, pretty much.
Yep.
And like, midweek, I escalate up. And
Mm.
then now I've learned to go, oh, well, it is what it is. Like in my check ins, I say to you all the time, I don't know. It
Yeah.
could be this, it could be that. I have no idea. The scales don't bother me anymore.
I was about to
Absolutely.
say that, yeah, because so your relationship with your body is a lot stronger now. You understand it a lot
Yeah.
better, but also
Yeah. I
your
think
emotions aren't determined by the scale number.
no, not at all. In fact, I get excited sometimes because I know that I'm sore and swollen from training and inflammation's down. I'm like, well, I actually worked hard for that inflammation and swelling. So just leave it
Oh,
up. I don't
okay.
care. Yesterday, when I did my measurements and my legs had gone up 2 centimeters, you should have heard me squeal. I was like, yes, finally, like they are growing. Oh my God.
How good.
And when you said, I don't know if that's a typo or the error in your centimeters, I was like, no, it's not. I've checked it 3 times.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
my hard work. It's
Oh,
crazy though, going from a mindset of everything has to go down to lose weight
mm,
to now wanting it to go up a little bit to gain muscle.
yep,
Like it's my whole life and outlook on my body and what I do, what I eat, what I train is just a whole different world. I've
yeah,
never like I used to be so consumed by the scales,
mm,
so consumed. And I know so many women still are. They talk to me, the ladies at the gym, they ask me all the time, like,
mm.
how much do you weigh? What do you do? And I tell them, I'm like up 10 kilos. And they're like, well, you don't look like you're up 10 kilos. I'm like, I do kind of. But also I don't care. Like I have to eat now to if I want to compete again to gain
Yeah.
muscle.
That's right.
But so many of them that are so much smaller than me, so many people struggle. And
Mm.
it's sad because that's what society's done to women.
Absolutely, it has. So let's talk about that because obviously throughout the prep and particularly the back end when it was very noticeable you were losing weight and then obviously had tremendous success through the season, you were getting inundated with inquiry, which was then flooding
Yeah.
onto me a lot of the time too.
Yeah.
Talk to me about some of the messaging you were receiving and what the messaging was like. You just touched on it there. People obviously asking what you're doing, food, the training, all these
Yeah.
sorts of things. Was there a lot of positive or was there some negative as well coming from that?
A lot of it was positive. A lot of it is people were asking me, what am I eating?
Mm,
And everyone thinks that you're on a meal plan when you do bodybuilding and you eat certain food. And I was like, I just eat the same food that I was eating. I just track the macros. And when you explain it, they're like, oh, that sounds too hard. It is, but it's not either.
mm,
Um, yeah, a lot people just want to know what calories are you eating to look like that and what are you eating.
yep,
But there's a lot more that goes into it. Obviously I've been with you for 5 years and like we've done lifestyle and everything, and nothing gives you that lean unless you go through comp prep.
mm,
Um, because you have to be so strict with it.
that's
Like
right.
you can't, like I didn't lick a spoon without, like, without it being tracked. Like that's huge to cook someone else's food and not taste it.
Yeah.
And just I didn't. I used to get him to taste it or just wing it, and
Mm,
99% of the time it was fine because
yeah.
he's never complained. Talking about my child. Yeah, a lot of inquiries were about what are you doing? What are you eating? How much are you eating? What are your calories? And then people will compare that to their own food and calories. And I was like, don't,
Yeah.
because what I'm doing is like I'm in deficit. You shouldn't be eating like such low amount if you're not in a comp deficit kind of thing.
Absolutely.
So a lot of the time I would just reply nicely and say, look, it's irrelevant what I'm eating, but
Mm,
this is what I'm eating for comp prep. Like I
mm,
will make sure they know that it's for comp prep.
yep.
Like it's not what I was eating when I was not in comp prep.
Mm.
Um, there was a few negative comments and to my face and behind my back
Oh yeah.
about she's taking it too far. But it's mostly people that don't understand the sport, and that's fine. And like we've all faced it.
Mm,
People publicly say it whether they know you or not.
yep.
You need, it's ridiculous now. You need to stop now.
Mm.
And I'm not a weak person that just holds back, so I just give it back to people.
No,
Like it
good
was
on you.
like
Absolutely. Yeah.
maybe you should start, like kind of thing.
Mm,
I don't want to be mean, but it was the negative comments get to you though,
yeah.
because it's hard enough going through the body changes when you're trying to do it for a sport. Like it wasn't about getting small. Like I used to get told a lot, you're small enough now. Why do you have to keep going?
Mm. Are you looking to shed a few kilos, change your composition, improve your relationship with food, increase your strength, or simply just have a better accountability level? Then maybe coaching is for you. I now offer online coaching in a number of capacities from week to week, fortnightly, monthly, and of course nutrition only coaching. So if you are interested or want to know more, simply jump on paulsbodyengineering.com or simply send me a DM.
And like it gets frustrating when you're hungry and tired and don't want to explain yourself to the world.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, it's interesting because people think they can comment if someone's getting skinny or losing weight, but no one would go up to someone and say, "Hey, like, are you going to stop eating? You've
Yeah,
gained." It's crazy, like
the other end of
because
the
I've been
spectrum,
on
isn't
both
it?
sides. I can say this. When I was bigger, no one used to come and comment on me. I was like
No.
60 kilos bigger.
Yeah.
Nobody ever said to me, "Hey, are you going to like do something about your weight?"
Mm, absolutely. Isn't it funny?
Like
It's
I'm talking
ironic. Yeah.
random people in public.
Yeah.
Nobody ever walked up to me and said, "Are you going to do something about it?"
Mm,
But as soon as my weight was dramatically changing, and what are you doing? Why?
mm,
Why would you want to be this skinny? It doesn't look good anymore. I liked you better before. I'm like, oh wow, like so much opinion around people that lose weight. And then it actually, because I was very blunt and open about it all, and I shared it on my stories about people's comments. And
yep.
so many girls messaged me who struggle to put weight on.
Yep.
The other problem that
There
some
you
women
go.
have,
Yep.
they want to gain weight and they want to have curves and they can't. Um, and they said, this is the story of my life. The
Yeah.
comments that I get, like, like one of my friends was like, I eat like so much food, and people think that I'm anorexic and I'm starving myself.
Mm,
So Yeah, it's just crazy. But then there were a lot of it was positive too. A lot of messages about people that have started going to the gym because they've seen like my
It's
changes,
amazing.
and that just made me so happy. Like it outweighs the negative
Of
comments.
course.
And of course you've had a lot of inquiries as well, which
Yeah,
was
yeah,
nice.
yeah, yeah. Which was amazing. Like, obviously that's just a bonus, I suppose, of having the success and knowing I had a hand in that. But I guess, did you, because obviously people were commenting, as you said, some of the negative comments that you've gone too far or you're too skinny or all these sorts of things. But did you ever feel your health was in jeopardy? Do you ever feel like that was a concern at any stage?
No,
No.
no, honestly, like I thought my deficit would be a lot lower than it was.
Sure.
I wasn't hungry. Like I
Yeah.
was hungry sometimes because you just want to eat more. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I was bored and I was like, oh, I could have eaten more than that. I think my deficit last year used to be my refeed. Um, I'd say 4 years ago.
Yeah. There you
So
go.
like when I started training with you, before I was doing nutrition, I was like eating 1100 calories
Right.
of God knows what macros. I
And
was
this
just
is when
tracking
you were
calories.
40 kilos heavier.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going 5 years ago, and I had lost a lot of weight, and I was starving myself because the weight was coming back on. So I
Yep.
was tracking the calories on MyFitnessPal. I wasn't doing macros as such.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what it's like with MyFitnessPal. You go in, you put in your height and weight and your gender, and it tells you what you should be eating. So I was
Yep.
eating 1100 calories based on what I wanted to lose.
Yep.
And I was in starvation mode all the time. So to literally be eating double that now
Yeah.
and being the smallest I've ever been, off obviously not comparing it to comp
No.
season, but just me as a general,
Mm.
lifestyle person, it's insane. Like
Yeah.
I love the science behind it. You've got to give it time
Yes.
and your body to adjust. Love the science behind the nutrition.
Perfect. Amazing. Good message. Yeah, very good message. It takes time, but as you just
Uh,
explained,
it
1100
doesn't take
calories, 30
8 weeks.
kilos heavier to now being the lightest you've ever been in a
Yeah.
normal sort of state with double the food,
Yeah.
you know.
Like you asked me last week if I want to increase my calories. I was like, I can't physically eat anymore right now. Like I need to, I
I
cannot,
know.
I can eat the calories easy. Like,
Yeah.
gosh, I can smash 4,000 calories in one meal if I
Yeah.
wanted to. But to eat right and like track it to the macros, I physically cannot
Yeah.
um, shove more food in me right now. Maybe later.
Maybe later. We'll see how things go. Unreal. So let's go. So you've finished your season, and then the recovery period, the reverse period kicks in. Now, this is obviously the biggest challenge for
That's
most
hard.
competitors, yeah, by far. And people don't understand until you've experienced it firsthand how challenging it can actually be, because obviously the goals are now gone. There's no more shows, no more seasons. So the motivation to be as strict as you have been for such a long period of time is kind of gone. So how did you find that period? Talk me through it, because obviously the first couple of weeks are probably the most challenging, and then as things settle and your energy returns and things, it gets a little bit easier. But talk me through those first couple of weeks.
Yeah, so the whole entire time I was in prep, I was mentally preparing myself for after because everyone kept saying the after part math is harder, blah, blah,
Yep.
blah.
Yep.
And I had watched all the season A girls, especially the girls that came out with Georgia. Obviously, we were seeing each other still on social media and stuff, and they were all struggling to a point, like everyone does. And they kept saying it's harder. So I kept listening to podcasts, books. Your obviously you informed us about a whole lot of things with your group and stuff, and I kept repeating like the same podcast. Any coach out there that does a podcast about after comp sort of mental stuff, I listen to it. So I knew it's going to be hard, but God, it was hard.
Yeah.
Like even being so prepared for it, I thought the whole prep, I lost, I don't know, maybe 18 kilos. I can't remember the
Yeah.
numbers wise. And then I thought, oh, it's going to take months to put some weight back on. Holy moly, even being so good with my reverse. And I think I had one bad day, sort of second week or third week, which I told you about.
Yeah.
Well, we can talk about that too.
Yeah. Sure.
Even being so good, the first 2 weeks, I whacked on 6 kilos.
Mm.
And the discomfort of putting on so much weight so quickly and the fluid retention, my body felt like a memory foam. Like it sounds gross, but I was all squishy. I was
Yeah.
all squishy because, like, I think my calves almost doubled in what they were. Like, it
Yeah.
was insane. And to eat that food and track it and mentally go, okay, my fear was I'm going to be big again. Like, I couldn't, I was like, okay, if I put on 6 kilos in 2 weeks, this is going to be mental. So the first month was so hard. And then my body adjusted. Obviously, the fluid came off. And I messaged you a few times and had a little mental breakdown. I messaged Moni, Kelly, like, I did talk about it. I didn't hold it in and go and take it out on binge eating.
Yep.
So the people that I was comfortable talking to, I talked to them, and everyone told me, you will adjust, you'll be fine, just keep going day by day. And that's what I did. And it did adjust, and then it went up again quite a lot. And I think at the start of it, because you kind of said we want to put on 10% body weight, I had that 10% in my head. And every time we went over that, I was like, oh my God, I've ruined it. Mentally, I was like, I've ruined it. Now I'm over the 10%, but I'm actually the best that I feel.
Yep.
Energy wise, physically, when I look at myself, it just, the weight has come on, but it's so different. Yes. It looks so different on me. And I love it. Like, I actually look like I've been going to the gym.
Well, that's good. Yeah. And just for people listening at home, the 10% was for sort of the first,
yeah, it's a guideline, but
you
kind of like, I don't know, it's us women. Like, probably you guys don't have the same brain activities, but you give us a number and we get fixated on that bloody number.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, don't even tell me what I need to weigh. Just tell me when I've gone too far.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a good.
Like the last few check-ins, you've told me this is a good spot for you. And like, my weight has been pretty much the same now for a good 5-6 weeks now.
Yep.
Goes up and down like within that 1 kilo, but that's hormones, there's fluid, there's like inflammation. I actually don't care. Yeah. As long as I know 100% I'm still doing pretty much 95% accuracy with food, unless I've got events on and like, dinners and social events. Even that, I make proper choices.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm treating this year, because I want to compete again whenever, but I'm treating this year as the prep for prep.
There you go.
I am like, I've never done a focus on build muscle season ever. Like, because it was never a goal. Now I'm eating to grow.
Yep.
But in the right places. So the first month was hard. That was the hardest. Everyone says, oh, prep would have been so hard. I'm like, oh no, it was not.
Absolutely. But I mean, upon reflection, and now you feel you've got huge amounts of energy. You're obviously, everything's balanced in terms of hormonal, internal, etc. You just feel, and obviously, again, it goes back to the point about the scales shouldn't really dictate how you're feeling, right? Because at the moment, in the best place you've been, you may be, several kilos up, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, the scales are wild. I've just like, now it's kind of like a game of, oh, what are you going to be today? Because it's so wild. Like on Monday, between Monday and Thursday, I can change like 1.5 kilos, go up, and then by Sunday it comes back down. So
exactly,
I don't care about it. I only do it because you want it, and
and
literally, like you've always said, it's just a tool. It's not everything. I mostly look at my measurements now. I've also accepted that my body weight goes around my waistline. I loved my abs. If I could keep them, I would do whatever, but it just won't.
Yeah.
Because that's where I gain fat. My body fat doesn't go to my upper body anywhere other than my waistline, and it definitely doesn't go to my legs. So the fat collection for my body is around my waistline. So it is what it is. I'm not going to kill myself over it. I know the abs are there. I've seen them.
Yes,
they can come out.
Yes.
They will come out again. No, I don't care about the scales.
Awesome. So obviously you've mentioned the desire to compete again. So go back to when we first obviously you started coaching with me, and you've said this on the previous podcast, you had no interest in competing. Do you remember why that was? Was it just a body image thing? Was it a
100%.
Such an extreme thing?
Yeah, I never ever thought I would look like what I look like. I look at the photos now from comp and I'm like, how is that me?
Yeah.
Like, it's just a whole different person. It feels like I'm looking at this other version of me that's, I don't know, in a sci-fi movie kind of. When I started with you, obviously my life was so different in so many ways. There were so many other things going on that have resolved and are over now, and I have peace and calm.
Yes.
To accept going on stage in a bikini, in heels and pose, like I was watching, I'm like, there's no way I've got that in me. Like, no way. It was just such a foreign thing to think that could be a person that I will be. I had to do a lot of mental work to actually get myself on stage the last 12 months. Like, I did breathwork sessions. I read a lot of books about accepting yourself, your body. Like, it's so many things that I had to do to mentally go up on stage, which I had a mental breakdown on my last comp, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
It all hit me on the last comp for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours. I was like, I shouldn't be here. I don't know why that happened, but it happened, and it's okay because, you know, I dealt with it and I still pushed through that fear and went back on stage. All of prep and everything, the scary part for me was going on stage. Just like, what are people going to think? And then that was my mindset at the start, but then I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I have this saying, if someone's not paying my bills, I don't care what they think. No one's paying my bills.
No, that's a very good point. Absolutely. But isn't that interesting? Because that's kind of the mentality in regards to like a first timer in a gym as well. That fear of judgment, which is obviously again the same sort of
Which
situation.
is so sad
Yeah.
because honestly, gyms are for those people
Yep.
to go and start. Like, you know, you can get fit. Everyone had to start somewhere. I love it when I see like newbies come in and like, you know, but I also, it makes me sad because a lot of women, you watch them, they're so self-conscious. They're constantly looking to see if they're doing the right thing.
Yep.
And you can tell someone's a newbie. I'm like, I've been there. I want to come and talk to you. I do sometimes.
Sure.
If I see someone like really like where I just going to say hi.
Yep.
Like if they look uncomfortable, just say hi, like, you know.
So if anyone's in, what it's World Gym, where's the World Gym?
North Lakes.
North Lakes, World Gym, North Lakes.
We actually have such
hi.
a beautiful community of women at 5 o'clock in the morning that we're all there at the same time. We all chat to each other, but like, you know, say hi and just kind of walk past. There's a group chat, like, you know, if anyone's not well or sick or anything, they actually say, hey, I'm not going to be in today. It's kind of like I don't know, you know, Globo gyms, no one really knows anyone unless you go with your friends. But it's so different because we've all been there for so many years at the same time in the morning. So everyone's kind of got to know each other, which is really nice. Yeah, look, I don't know.
Everyone's there for the same reason, right? They're all there to train and get fit and healthy.
You shouldn't be intimidated. No. Like, no one's looking at anyone.
No, exactly.
I was that person that used to go and sit in the car park of a gym and like was so scared to go in. I'm talking years ago. And I said it in the last podcast too. Or I'd go and walk on a treadmill and go home because I just felt uncomfortable. All I ever wanted was to do weights. And the weight, like I remember going with my brothers at the Auckland University gym and I'll go into the weight section and I'll just do whatever they were doing. But I was also surrounded by a lot of men and it was very daunting, kind of scary because back then not many women did weightlifting. Everyone did like spin classes and fitness classes, which I hated so much. All I wanted was to do weight training. And I wish I had found this sport like that many years ago. Like it wasn't, because I'm bloody ancient. It wasn't so common for women to do this though.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
I'm talking, God, it's over 25 years ago.
Yeah,
it was very... like there were women that did it, but if anyone did bodybuilding, it was like, oh, they're on steroids, and that's what they do.
Yeah. So, you know, given you obviously attend a World Gym, they're obviously very, I guess, synonymous with, you know, a lot of bodybuilders, a lot of weightlifters, a lot of powerlifters, so a lot of big dudes. So none of that intimidates you anymore. You're not scared to tell some big muscly dude to bugger off if you want to use the machine.
In life anymore. I'm becoming this, I don't know. I just don't care about anything anymore. I just do me.
Yep.
I honestly, it's such a good phase of life to be in. Don't care what anyone thinks of me. Like if they don't like me, walk along. I don't get intimidated by anything. Like I've had people say to me, how are you not scared of saying that publicly? I'm like, I'm not scared. Like they should be scared. Like what's going to happen? I only state facts though.
Yeah,
like if someone's horrible and rude, I will pull them up on it. No, honestly, I've never felt intimidated in the gym by men or women. Like it's actually a nice gym to go to. World Gym, sometimes they have a bad rep for like this whole stigma of like, I don't know, like.
Experience the difference with Matt Glynn at Code Property Group. With a 20-year reputation of a clean business, Matt is your guy when it comes to all things real estate. Make sure you give him a call now on 0404 315 066.
I don't know. Like when I started going to Worlds, I've been at this one for 5 years. And everyone was like, oh my God, are you going there? I love it.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the best ones out of all of them, to be honest, as far as space goes. It's not cluttered. It's just so much equipment.
Yep.
It's massive. Never have to wait for anything. And yeah, no, I've never been intimidated. No one's ever been rude. No one's ever made me feel uncomfortable. No one even looks at anyone. People
That's the
just do their
point.
own thing.
That's the point. Like that's what I said before. It's amazing how
I
people
don't look at
think that.
anyone
Yeah.
unless someone taps me on the shoulder and says hi. I
No.
don't notice people. I have like noise canceling headphones on, and I'm
You
trying
got
not to
tunnel
die.
vision, right? You got to focus on
I'm
your
trying
training.
not to die with your programming. Like I just walk around. I'm like, don't look like death. Um,
Oh, outstanding.
no, yeah, it's a shame that a lot of people are intimidated though
Yep.
to go to a gym, whereas
Yeah.
gym is for people to go and
For
start their
everyone.
health and fitness journey.
Yep. Absolutely. So, what's next? So you've mentioned that you're obviously pretty keen to compete again. You've mentioned that. So
Absolutely.
obviously the buzz and the thrill and the excitement of doing the season itself was, worthwhile experiencing again. And you're happy to go
Yeah.
through the dieting of prep again. So
Yeah.
that can deter a lot of people, right? You do it once, it's like, no, I've done that. I don't need to do it again. So what would be the reason for doing it a second time? What would be your personal reasons?
Look, I went into this first comp because of the sport, because I wanted to see what I can build, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I've built, not what I can build, but what's under here. I wanted to see
Sure.
it all. And when I saw my body the way that it was, I was like, holy shit, imagine if I actually focused on competing. Like
Yep.
I can do so much better. And because this season went so well, I want to know what I can do when I'm focused.
Yeah. Good point.
Because like we know that all your work is done in your off season.
That's right.
Prep is just shredding it down and seeing what you've achieved. And I am just so keen to see, because I'm pushing so hard. What did you tell me? Make Jim your bitch. It's my bitch. I don't know. Sometimes I feel
Make
like
Jim your
it's
bitch. Yeah,
I'm the
absolutely.
bitch. I'm the one dying. But yeah, I just want to see what I can achieve next time.
Unreal.
And yeah, I'm giving myself 12 months to build and see. And if life allows, I would love to prep again next year, 26.
Yep, cool. So it's more about what you have achieved and that personal goal rather than the potential to, receive more places or whatever. Like that's obviously just the bonus.
I would love it.
Of course.
But also want to see what I can achieve. Yeah. Compare myself. I only compare myself to myself.
Yep.
Like I never compare myself to another person. Sometimes it's hard, like on comp days, and that is so hard because the judging like happens and you look at photos, you're like, why?
Yeah.
But that's okay. Like I've learned that it is what it is. You just got to deal with it.
Very subjective. Yeah.
Yeah, very subjective. And who cares?
Yeah.
I compare myself to myself
well, I think
all the time.
The objective, for any of my athletes and you included, was that as long as we're competitive, so we get on stage, it's good for you to be competitive. You're in the mix every single time, and that's exactly what happened. You were always in the mix. You're always in consideration, and most of the part you were top 3 finish. So, that's all that can be expected, and then whatever happens after that is completely out of either of our hands.
Yeah. It's just like I've never done any sports before in my life. Like never. I used to hate running and anything to do with cardio, any sport. Like going to high school was hard because I just didn't want to do anything.
Sure.
If this was a sport of choice, I would have aced it because I love it. It's addictive. Like going to the gym for me at 4:00 in the morning, it's the best part of my day. I can't wait to get up. I bounce out of bed to go to gym. And it's crazy because it's like a day off. My dad was here for Christmas, New Year's, and he was a bit shocked. He's like, oh, you've been to the gym already? I'm like home by 6:00, all done. I was like, I can't train any other time of day. It's my hour and a half to 2 hours I actually love it. It's a routine that when it's not there, I struggle.
But then by training that early in the morning, you've got the rest of the day to do whatever you need to do, right? And then you can't complain you're short on time.
Yeah. Because of getting up at that time for years, I just wake up to sunrise now.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Good.
It's a nice routine.
Unreal. Talk to me about your place of work, because the girls there are obviously incredibly supportive, and there were a lot of funny videos and reels of stuff that came out while you're in prep trying to get steps in and do all these sorts of things.
Yeah.
So just give them a quick plug and talk to how supportive they are, because sometimes
I love them so much.
They can be a bit funny about it.
Honestly, the best team. They supported me so much, and they're all into their own health and fitness journeys now, that like doing different things.
Yep.
They have different goals. The whole atmosphere is so different. Like we've gone from ordering Uber Eats every second day and doing lunches like that to everyone does their meal preps and comes in. And it's not because of me. Obviously, I was in prep, but
Yep.
it has to a point motivated other people to do their own things. Like
Yep.
no one's doing bodybuilding. One's training for a marathon, one does different fit stop and high rocks and things like that.
Yep.
It's just so nice because the atmosphere is so different.
Yep.
Everyone's into their own little thing. We all talk about it. That it was good. There was such a supportive team. They were so proud to watch me go through prep and not lose my shit. And and it was fun. Like, I don't know. Yeah. And the dedication of getting those steps done, me walking up and down the corridors, they're such a good team. So proud of them all.
Unreal. Give it a plug. What is it called?
Skin Mass in Clontarf.
Yeah, because I think I was there. Was it the Sunny Coast show where someone came up to you and complimented you on your lips? So there was obviously some plugs going on backstage.
She's so lovely. She got my number. She's like, I need to come see you for my face. I was like, here you go. Here's my number.
Yeah, good. There you go. You're about to go on stage pumping up, and meanwhile you're selling, injections or whatever it is.
Yeah, so funny.
Unreal. Well, we'll wind up there, Mina. I think we've covered everything that I wanted to chat about, but it's been obviously a wonderful journey, and there's more to come, which is really exciting. And that just shows the commitment from yourself, but also the dedication and just the pure enjoyment you're having from this time in your life compared to various other chapters that you've experienced.
Yeah.
We've done the previous podcast, so we've answered the personality question about who you'd have dinner with. This time around, your fight song. So I gave you time to think about this one. So this could be not necessarily the fight scenario where you're walking out to the ring, but it could even be just something you whack on to sort of amp you up for like a deadlift or something like that. So have you got one or two you've chosen?
The first one that came to my head was We Started From the Bottom, We're Here by Drake.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
Because that's literally my life. Of how I've got to this point. It's like I did start from the bottom. It was the hardest part of my life to go through, and now it's like the best time. I don't think I've ever been more together, positive, happy, all at the same time.
Amazing.
And honestly, massive credit to you. Shout out to you. Like, honestly, I wouldn't be here without your coaching. Everyone says to me, oh my God, you've been with him for 5 years. I'm like, yep. Like, I've got no issues. Like, I tell you what I want and you make me get there. So amazing. I don't know if you have the forms from when people sign up from 5 years ago, but I would do. I would never compete.
Yeah.
I wrote in that I'd never want to compete, I'm pretty sure. But I just want to look my best at 40, and like it was before my 40th. And now I'm turning 45 this year and I'll look even better. So thanks.
How about that? Yeah. Well, that's bodybuilding.
Highly recommend. 10 out of 10. I'll leave you a Google review.
Yeah. Well, just as a take home before we sign off, what's a bit of advice for the people that reached out to you in particular? Like, a lot of them may have reached out, got the information they wanted, but have done nothing more, but are still in that same mindset. What's some advice you could sort of leave them with?
There's never a good time to start. Just start is my one thing, and don't think that it's a quick fix. I said it in the last podcast as well. It's taken years and years and years for your body to turn out the way that it has. If you're not happy with it, whatever that is, whether it's, I don't know, aches and pains or overweight or whatever it is, it's taken years to get yourself to that point. Now you've got to reverse it, and it's going to take years. It's taken me 5 years, but it's the most consistent 5 years, and it's staying off. It's a lifestyle. Like, there's no timeline.
That's right.
Some people may get there sooner. It's all about how your body responds. So give it time, be consistent, tick the boxes. And I still get messages, and at work even, because a lot of my patients at work, they obviously watch me go. I've been there 3 years. They've watched me at my highest sort of weight in the last 3 years. They've watched me prep and lose all the weight. So it's fascinating to people, like, oh my God. And now they watch me again. They're like, oh, you look normal. And I love that. You don't look dead. And I say to them, just make one change. Like, focus on one thing. Atomic Habits, read that book. Like, habit stacking, and if it wasn't, I listen to Atomic Habits every January. Habit stacking is like got me into a routine that I've got daily, and God forbid if that routine's broken, I'm like a mess. But stay consistent and make one change, whether that's you hit a step goal every day, like every day, like brushing your teeth every day.
Yep.
Just or like take one food thing out of your diet that's not good for you. Like, you know, if you drink full can of Coke every day, take that out, don't have it. Change it to Coke Zero. I don't know what it is because everyone's journey is so different.
Yes.
But focus on the little things. Don't focus on losing 10 kilos in 8 weeks.
Yeah. Good point. Very good point.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which is a lot of the fitness society is challenges and the week, you know, lose this much in this many weeks.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen that way.
No, it doesn't, unfortunately.
And don't do 75 hard. Don't.
That's a whole nother podcast.
that makes me so angry. I'm like, don't do it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Unreal. Thank you, Mina. It's been great to chat to you once again. Obviously, we chat regularly, but to get you on here, it's good to get complete transparency and honesty in your journey. Obviously, you know, the highs and lows, the journey itself, the length, all those sorts of things. So certainly do appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're on a day off today?
I am on a day off today. I might go for a little beach walk before it rains again somewhere.
I was going to ask that. So, you know, because you're so structured with your weeks, what does a day off look like?
Oh, I still went to the gym at 4:30 this morning and
Yep.
Had coffee with a friend. And I'm going to go for a walk. I literally do the same thing every single day. If anyone follows me on Instagram, they will see my stories are pretty much the same thing every single day.
And you've got a nutrition page too.
I do because so many people ask me about what I'm eating.
Yep.
I was like, you know what? I'm going to dedicate a whole page to what I'm eating. And
Amazing.
I've been just videoing my food and recipes that I make, which are absolutely delicious, if I may talk myself up.
Go for it.
But they are. Like, I can't stand eating food that's bland and doesn't taste good. And I'm just like posting all my recipes. It's got the macros if anyone wants it. And a lot of your clients, Kelly's clients, and my own friends, they all follow me. I did not think I'll get almost 200 followers. I thought there would be like 20 people follow me. It's been overwhelming. So I'm not a nutritionist and I don't claim to be one, but I'm a good cook. So I can substitute food into recipes that will, like, you know, just be good for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's how I got through prep. Like, that's literally, I just ate well. And didn't struggle. So yes, I do have that. It's called Eat with Mina. It's got underscores in there.
There you go. So it's about to blow up now that you put it out here.
I know. I love it. I love it so much. Just the interaction I get on there, how much people love food. And they're like, oh my God, didn't even think about that. Please do. Like, go and make it. Let me know. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, follow along, Eat with Mina, and you'll get some great recipe ideas that are obviously very simple, but very tasty.
Very simple. I don't spend much time in the kitchen.
Yep. Perfect. All right, Mina, thank you once again.
Thank you so much, Paul.
No problem at all.